With so many beliefs out there, why should anyone choose Jesus? In this episode, we'll explore what makes Jesus different and why truth matters more than popularity. Hello there. You're welcome back to our Daily Bread Ministries Teens podcast. If this is your first time joining us, watching us, you're welcome. And we're here to ask real questions, to wrestle with hard things and grow roots, deep roots in a faith that actually hold life when things get loud and tough. And today's question, is Christianity just one of many religions? You have probably heard that before, right? Maybe you've even asked the question yourself. And honestly, it's a really good question. So let's sit with it. Have you ever heard someone say, "Oh, all religions are basically the same. They just teach people to be good"? Or maybe you heard another person say, "Well, it doesn't really matter what you believe as long as you are sincere." That sounds very nice, right? And it feels respectful, inclusive. It feels peaceful, so you don't offend anyone. But here's the problem. What if sincerity alone is not enough? What if two things that contradict each other cannot both be true? And what if eternity actually depends on what is true, not just what feels right? And this is what we're going to unpack today. So first off, yes, there are many religions, no doubt, but they are not all the same. At first glance, most religions seem similar. They talk about God or gods, right? They have sacred texts, they teach morality, and offer some sort of idea of life after death. But if you look closer, you'll see that there are some major differences, especially about who God is, who we are, and how salvation really works. So let me give you just a few examples. Islam teaches that Jesus was a prophet, but not God, and that salvation comes through submission to Allah and good deeds, right? In Hinduism, you have the whole idea of believing in millions of gods and the cycle of reincarnation, right? You die, you come back in another life, another different face, different person, where you return again, and then until you're finally free. Buddhism says, it doesn't even believe in a personal God, just a state of enlightenment, that comes through detachment, basically. And it's confusing. Atheism says, you know what, there's no God at all. And then there's Christianity, which says something radically different, that God became a human in the person of Jesus. That salvation is a gift, not something you earn. And that Jesus is the only way back to God. So the idea that all religions are basically the same it's not true when you really look at what they teach. Now, the second thing is that Jesus didn't claim to be a way. Okay? There's nowhere in the Bible that Jesus claimed to be a way. No, he claimed to be the way. And this is fundamental. This is crucial because this is where Christianity takes a bold stand. Jesus wasn't just a teacher. He wasn't just a healer or a prophet. No, he didn't leave that option open. No, he claimed to be God in the flesh and the only way to eternal life. John 14 verse 6, one beautiful passage. Jesus answered, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Now, he was not guessing here. He was very real. It was not a maybe. That's not one of many. That's a clear, exclusive claim and statement. Now, you might actually be thinking, well, your Jesus is arrogant, right? Or maybe narrow-minded. But think about this. Truth by nature is exclusive. If 2 plus 2 equals 4, then it will never make sense for you to now say it's not. It will be narrow-minded actually for you to say it's 5. In the same way, Jesus really is who he says he is. If he is who he says he is, then it's not unloving of him to say that he is the only way. It's actually the most loving thing that he could say, because it's true. Third thing is that Christianity isn't about climbing up to God, because we couldn't even do that. Again, Romans tells us that while we were yet sinners, we were messed up, Christ died for us. So, but it's about God coming down to us. And here's something that sets Christianity apart from every other religion. Every religion teaches that we need to work our way up to God, okay? The rituals that we need to do, good deeds that we need to do, discipline, penance, enlightenment, or even karma. But Christianity says you could never reach God on your own. So God, because he loves us, came to us. Again, Romans 5:8 says it. It says, but God demonstrates his love, his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. That's not religion. That's grace. That's not try harder. That's trust Jesus. It's not a ladder that you climb. It's a gift that you receive. Ephesians 2:8-9 again says, it is by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not from yourselves. It is a gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. Only Jesus offers that. Fourth thing to think about is that truth matters more than popularity. We live in a culture that values personal truth, right, over absolute truth. So truth is relative, right? So you can believe this to be true, and I can believe this to be true. And we have so accepted it because we're running away from the absolute truth. And you have probably heard things like, what's true for you may not be true for me. Or, you know what, just live your truth. Live it out. But the thing here is that truth doesn't change based on our opinion of it. If you jump off a building, for example, believing that gravity doesn't exist, you're going to fall and possibly die. Why? Because the truth exists whether or not we believe it. And when it comes to the whole idea of your soul, your purpose, and your future, what you believe about all of this matters a lot. So sincerity won't save you. Believe me, only Jesus can. Acts 4:12 says, salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved. It doesn't get more clearer than that. You see, Jesus invites everybody, but he remains the only way. Jesus isn't exclusive in who can come to him, right? In the sense that, oh no, he has to be these specific people. No, he said in John 6:37, whoever comes to me, I will never drive away. I love that passage so much. That includes you, no matter your past, no matter what your doubts are. But he's always clear that there is only one door. Matthew 7:13-14 says, enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Jesus is not just one religion among many. He is the rescue plan of God, based on our mess up, based on our sin nature. So the living proof that God didn't give up on us, and the only one who defeated sin and death and invited us into true life. So why should you choose Jesus? Well, because no one else died in your place. No one else rose from the dead. No one else offers forgiveness, purpose, peace, meaning to life, eternal life that is not based on your effort, but on his grace, except Jesus. Other religions may give you a system, right? Yes, system of doing things, but Jesus gives you himself, and that changes everything. Thank you so much for being with us today at our Daily Bread Ministries Teens podcast. We hope that today's episode gave you clarity, gave you hope, and maybe even just a new reason to trust Jesus deeply, not because it's popular, but because it's true. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comments, and we'll be sure to address them. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next episode.